Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today just had a package arrive in the post, and what we've got here, this is a conformal coating repair kit. I'll open the box. Basically, I've been watching a lot of videos by a YouTuber, he goes by The Coder, and basically he's a bit like Tronics Fix in the US and Lewis Rossman. He works on modern stuff. In the instance of The Coder, it's like Xboxes, PlayStations, you know, latest PlayStation 5, Xbox, whatever they are now. I'm not really into modern consoles. He does a lot of repair on them, and it's interesting actually watching some of the repair work he does. And once he's actually done a repair, he actually replaces the conformal coating that's, you know, come off as part of the repair. And I've used nail varnish and all sorts to you know, repair conformal coating on boards, because I always thought, you know, proper repair kits must be bloody expensive. This was a tenner, so I thought I'd have a go, see if this is any better than, like I said, I've used nail varnish in the past to repair damage on conformal coating. And with all this in mind, what I've done, I went in my scrap bin and I pulled a board out. I actually did some deliberate damage to it, so I ganked through a load of traces here, and I've taken some of the solder mask off there. Conformal coating, solder mask, basically it's the same thing. And I've also done a bit over here where as though you'd had some corrosion and you'd tinned up the traces and just left some tin traces. I've also put a bodge wire in around here, which would be the same type of thing as, say, you'd took some ICs off and you'd pulled a trace off between two ICs and you'd put a bodge wire on the back to repair it. I've done something similar to that there. Like I said, and there I've done as though literally someone had gone through a load of traces and they've had to be rebuilt. And what we're going to do is see how well this goes about actually covering over the damage that I've done on that board. Like I said, it is just a scrap board, it's nothing I need or anything, it's just something I harvest parts off, but I thought it'd be a good board. There were some nice traces that took to experiment with, so that's basically what I did with that. Anyway, we've got I went for a green because most of the boards I work on are green. This comes in all different colours that you see circuit boards in. You know, you can get it in blues, greens, reds. The nice thing is the whole kit was 10 quid, but these actual tubes of the conformal coating are about 4 quid in all the different colours. So if I do want any in the other colours, like I say, it's not expensive. You need UV light to cure this. It doesn't, you know, like air cure or anything. You actually use UV light to cure this, and it comes with a UV light. I was hoping there'd be some instructions or something, but we don't get any instructions. We get the conformal coating, we get basically like a fake kind of mag light type thing. Oh, we even have to supply our own batteries. I suppose for a tenner you can't really complain. And we get a little very, and I will say it's like a very soft, very fine brush. So we will have a go, perhaps with using that to apply it. It's a little on the large side, but as it has come as part of the kit, well, like I said, we'll give that a try. Let's see if we can see what batteries this uses, and we'll see if we can find some batteries to go in the torch and see if this does actually work. It appears to use AAA batteries. I think I've got some of them in my drawer here. Let's have a look. Two of them, I think. Does it use these? Yeah. So I've got 1, to... thought, good. Put that in the bin. And these are super Hyundai brand. So one of the cheapest, nastiest batteries that money can buy. And that one in there, I think that's correct. Right, we'll put that back in. I mean, this torch, I know this is just like a generic cheap Chinesium torch, because I used to have exactly the same torch, just in a standard torch. So we will, I think it goes in that way. Put the back on. See, at least it is like an aluminium. You know, it's not super cheap. I'm hoping that those UV LEDs are actually safe. They should be. I don't think any of the UV LEDs can actually produce any UV waveforms that are actually harmful to us. It's like UV germicidal lamps and stuff like that can be nasty. I don't think there's enough power in a UV LED to be able to do any nasty damage. Right, so we've got the kit out. Let's... Is there any directions for use on here? It's all in Chinese, unfortunately. Although there is a QR code there, but I am male, so I won't be bothering looking up instructions. We'll just try it. I don't even know how long this thing takes to cure. It's usually pretty damn quick, actually. But we'll find out in the we'll find out how long it takes by trying it. You actually get a fair amount in that tube as well. I'm going to need something to squeeze some out into, aren't I? I think I've got that thing that I had I got the battery out of. We can use that. Let's try taking the back off. Ah, right. So it's like a syringe type thing. So we should be able to just squeeze a tiny little bit of this out. There we go. Won't get much out. It's got a little spotch there. I'll put the lid back on. We don't want to lose any. Like I say, it's not bad with only £4, but I'm tight, so I'll try and keep that safe. Right, so we've got a little bit in there. As you can see, I'll get the board in, and I'll get the board. We'll zoom down on the board so you can actually see some of the repair work. Oops, down we come. Right, let me get you in on the first. Or in fact, we'll do that one first because that's a nice, simple. As you can see there, where I've taken some of the conformal coating off, so it'd be as though you had a bit of corrosion somewhere nearby, and when you cleaned it, it lifted the conformal coating. So we'll get a little bit of this on the brush, and we'll try touching that in. So I'm not expecting a colour match or anything, but that's not really what we're about, is it? We're just about actually repairing the solder mask. Okay, there we go. Let's try curing that then. So I'll get the torch. We'll hold that. I'll give it about, say, 30 seconds. I don't know where I can actually see that changing with the UV on it. Is that going to be enough? Just feel it. Just give it a little bit longer, but I think that's nearly dry. Okay. Yeah. That's actually dry now. That's not a bad. That's not a bad do. Let's tip the board so you can see where we've covered over there. That's worked quite nicely. What I will say when you're doing this, you've got to make sure that it's spotlessly clean. I cleaned this down with IPA after I'd done the actual work to remove any residue, flux residue or anything like that. If you leave any flux residue on there, the conformal coating's not going to cure. It won't actually, sorry, it'll cure, but it won't actually adhere to the board underneath. The board has to be oil and flux and dirt free. Right, I'm going to get a little bit more on my brush, and you can see what I've done here. Basically, there was a big slice through a load of traces there, and I've bridged each trace. I don't think I can get you any closer in. I think that's the maximum extent of the zoom I have. Yes, it is. You can actually see I've basically used single pieces of copper just to bridge over where the break in the traces are. So it's a standard type of fix you do for actual physical damage. You know, a board had been scratched while it was in storage or something and gone through a few traces. That's a standard way of repairing it. But the problem is that all these wires could break loose and they can move about. So that's the idea of putting the conformal coating on. So like I say, I'll get a little bit more on my brush, and we'll have a go at coating this. That's touched in quite nicely. And the idea here is really we're using it as like a glue, as well as protecting the actual traces so nothing can short. We're actually using it to glue down the repair wires. Like that. I think we've covered it all. A little bit there. I might just add another tiny bit more onto that actually, because what I'll do is once we've done this, we'll see how well it's actually helped hold them wires in place. I'll just get another little bit more of the conformal coating out of the tube. I've just got about the same again out. I'll just have a tiny touch more. There we go. So in that instance we're using it like a glue to hold them bodge wires down. And we'll hit it with the UV. In fact, you can really see the wires when you do that, can't you? On the you certainly can on the camera. I'll probably need to actually hold the UV on here a bit longer in this instance. And probably, you can't really see. Let me try and move my arm around. I'll use my other hand. So you can actually see. I'll probably actually have to hold it quite close here because I've put it on really thick. So we're using it here more to actually hold the repair in place than just as an insulator. So I'll probably give it a good, I'll try and give it about 30 seconds and then I'll just touch it with something and see how it's done. Let's try it at that. I'm not sure how long I've just been going for, probably only about 15 or 20 seconds actually, but let's see how that's feeling. That's dry. Yeah, that's pretty well dry. Let's try, so we can get the other repair that I've done in shot so you can see the other bodge, which is, can you see that there? Basically what we've done is as though there was a trace missing on the other side, and we've gone from there with a little bodge wire around to there. So what I'm going to do is just cover that, because what we want to do is see if we can hold that wire. In fact, what we want to do is just try putting a little bit in the centre there and actually use it as a glue to hold that. Hold that repair down, rather than actually just conformal coat the whole thing. So we'll just put one spot in the middle there, and we'll see if we can cure that into place, and that will actually hold that that bodge wire down in place. So let's, again, we'll hit it with the UV light, and because we've put a right big dollop on there, we'll probably have to hold it for a fair bit of time just for it to cure off. Because the great thing about actually using proper conformal coating like this is, if you had to, it would be, you know, it's reasonably easy to scrape off. So if you had to go back in and perhaps remove that wire, it wouldn't be a major hassle to just scrape it back off again. As where if you use something like a araldite or a two-part glue or something, you might have a lot more trouble actually removing it in the future if you indeed had to. Let's see how that is. Take that off there. Let's give it a quick. Yeah, and that's dried. That's actually holding that wire down. See, I can just nudge it with my. No, it's held that wire down really quite nicely. Right, last one I want to have a quick look at is here. And this is very typical of, you know, you had a battery leak somewhere near it and you've gone over the traces have been not broken, but they've been damaged by it, and you've exposed them, and you've basically tinned up the traces just to reinforce where the copper has been eaten away, and it's just been left pretty much like that. I mean, you could leave it like that. I've seen plenty of people leave it like that, and it's absolutely fine, because I mean, you have covered the exposed copper already with some solder, some fresh solder. But let's just see what we can do to make it look a little better and insulate it. Because I mean, yeah, that's great. You've you stopped the actual copper eroding anymore, but you've still got a potential short hazard. Like I said, if something could touch these traces and short out. So let's apply some of the conformal coating like that over the damaged area. I'm planning to use this on the apricot, you know, where I did the repair to the clock circuit. I had to do some bodge wires, and there's a little bit of corrosion that I've had to clean off around there, especially where the battery was sitting. I will be, next time I have that computer open to do some more work on it, I will be going in and actually coating that area anywhere that needs with some of this stuff, because quite frankly I'm actually quite impressed with it for what it cost anyway. So we'll give that a blast with the UV. That should be about enough. You can always just gently feel it with your finger, and if it still feels sticky, just go back in with the light again. Let's just try that. That's still a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit sticky. I think it's pretty much done. Okay, let's try that. feel? Yeah, that's dry now. It's perhaps just a tiny little, I've left a little tiny little bit of a fingerprint there, but it's not bad. I think that was from the first time when it wasn't quite cured. I'll get right in like that. It would have been nice for them to be a few instructions, but I'm actually literally doing what I've watched the coder do. He doesn't seem to use his UV light for very long. I think he might have a UV laser rather than just a cheap little flashlight like this, but it does definitely seem to be working. Right. Yeah, that's nice and that's dry now. But yeah, I'll just give you a quick. Unfortunately, like I said, I can't get the. Well, in fact, what I could do, let me just drop the camera down and we'll see if we can get you a bit closer in on what I've just done. Ooh, there, down you go. And let's get you back up. There we go. As you can see, like I said, that's the. That is where I repaired it. Where it was as though there'd been a little bit of corrosion on them traces, and like I said, we'd cleaned it off and then tinned the traces up with some solder to go over the corrosion, and then we've just covered it over with the conformal coating, and it's actually done a really nice job of re-insulating that. Then we've got, let's see if we can get that in the centre. I'll have to just get you up a little bit. You can see there where we've put the bodge wire in between that point there and that point there, and then we've just used a tiny little dot of the conformal coating just there, just to stop that wire from coming loose. That wire is nice and held down so that can't break free then, and that's worked really nicely. And like I say, we did have to remove it. It wouldn't be any hassle just to ping that bit of conformal coating off. Then we'll have a look, see if we can get you on in shot again. And then right here is where, like I said, we showed where I'd exposed a big chunk of copper there, which, like I said, it's very common to what you see around where the actual battery is sat, and then you've usually got a ground plane that ends up with a big chunk of the conformal coating missing from it once you've cleaned it up. You can see there where we've just repainted it back in with the repair kit, and it's done a really nice job, and that's nice and dry now, and I'm actually quite impressed with that. And then there, obviously this is a bit more of a severe repair. It's literally what I did is I took my knife and I just went and slashed through a load of the traces like that, and then did a repair where I put piece of copper between each one, so you've got like 6 pieces of very fine copper there, bridging all the broken traces, and we've just used the conformal coating over the top of all that, so it's insulated it all, and it is holding those 6 bodge wires now permanently into place, so there's no worry about them actually coming loose, breaking back off, or one coming loose and shorting against another one or anything like that. They're basically held in place. But you have got the advantage, if we absolutely had to, we could clean all that off and do other work to it if needed. So yeah, I've got to say, of course I've got to see whether I can clean that brush off. In fact, I will just stop the video now and I'll just quickly go and see how easy that brush is going to be to clean, because it could be that we have to chuck the brush after every one. I know that when the coder's doing it, I think he uses the end of his tweezers to actually apply the conformal coating rather than a brush like that. But I'll just quickly pause the video and I'll be back with my with my findings on cleaning this brush. Okay, I'm back and I'll just confirm the brush is actually easy enough to clean with a little bit of IPA. All I did is I put a little bit of IPA in a bottle cap, just put the brush in it, swirled it round a little bit and then wiped it off on some kitchen paper, and that's how it's come out. It's just as good as it was. I mean, it's left a little bit of discoloration, but that's not a problem. So yeah, even the brushes are reasonable. I wouldn't say it's a high quality brush or anything, but it's nice and soft. It does apply the conformal coating reasonably nicely. I may try on some things, you know, perhaps like where I was doing something like that, and it was just one wire I was doing. Perhaps the end of a cocktail stick or something might be just as good to use. But if you're doing a bigger area you wanted to cover in, that brush is probably absolutely ideal. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. So this was just the thing had arrived. I thought I'd do a quick test and see how it worked. I'm actually, for 10 quid, I'm really quite impressed. It's not bad stuff for cheap. There's a decent amount in there, and I think it was like 4 quid or 5 quid or something like that. 4 quid plus postage or whatever for replacements of that in all different colours. But we got the brush and the curing light. I mean, it's not top quality, but it's not terrible. It will certainly do the job. So for 10 quid, I really can't fault it, and it's it's going to be better than using nail varnish. Yeah, anyway, I'll leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed this little video. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.